trained, and also they have a qualification about teaching Japanese. Okay. So education, we are very confident. Okay, we have a best service for education. Okay. For Muslim students, we have a special service. We have a prayer room inside the school building, and also there is a masjid, Fukuoka masjid near the school, just a few minutes by bicycle. So students are allowed to join the Friday prayer, okay, on Friday, the male students. Okay. And we have 5 Muslim staff, okay, and about 40 Muslim students. So the Muslim community inside the school is also increasing.
卒業後の進路は大学もしくは大学院に行きたいという学生には大学への進学指導をして、大学はたくさん推薦してコネクションがある大学があります。
Assalamualaikum, Miss Rose from New York. Good night. Good night, Miss Rose from New York. Thank you for joining our international seminar. Really, my family miss you.
So we're gonna start this seminar, this webinar in 2 minutes, okay, or in 1 minute, according to my time in my laptop.
Hi, Falut.
Yes.
Miss Ohata from Japan.
Welcome to our webinar, Miss Ohata. Many participants are entering this room. So, okay, it's 9 o'clock. I think we have to start the meeting now. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah la haula wala quwata illa billah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh la nabiyya ba'dah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma warzuqni fahma. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our webinar. Our topic today, as you can see in our flyer, the impact of education system in Japan and Indonesia toward citizens' readiness in facing corona pandemics. So what an interesting topic, I think, for today's webinar. So as information, this webinar is brought to you by the cooperation between Al-Hikmah Boarding School Batu and Iowa Language Institute, which is located in Fukuoka, Japan. So first thing first, let's express our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because of His mercies and His blessings, we can attend this webinar, although via online platform like Zoom meeting. Okay, so we cannot hold a direct meeting in this pandemic conditions. Well, at least I hope you are all in a good condition at your home. So the second, salawat and salam is always sent to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who has sacrificed all of his life to teach us the light of Islam. By the way, maybe we have met before in other occasions. Some of you joined my webinar in Pedagogy of Liberations, but if you didn't join it, you can search it in YouTube. Okay, it's kind of promotion also. But let me in this occasion introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Salahuddin Talut. I'm the teacher of SMP Al-Hikmah Boarding Life Batu. But now I'm here as the MC of this webinar. Okay, so and let me read the rundown of our webinar today. The first will be opening. The second, Quran recitation. The third is listening to national anthems. And the fourth is the opening speech. And the fifth will be the main course, presentations from the speakers. And then after that, question and answer session. And the last is praying and closing. So let's open this webinar by saying Basmalah together.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
The second agenda is Al-Quran recitation that will be performed by Sami Salman. Salman is my student. He is 11th grader of SMA Al-Hikmah Batu. Salman, the room is yours. Is Salman here?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu idza qila lakum tafassahu fil majalisi fafsahu yafsahillahu lakum wa idza qila shuzu fanshuzu yarfa'illahu alladzina amanu minkum walladzina utul ilma darajat wallahu bima ta'maluna khabir. Shadaqallahul azim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Salman. What a beautiful voice from our student, Sami Salman. The next agenda, we are going to listen to the national anthems from the both countries, Indonesia and Japan. The national anthem of Indonesia is Indonesia Raya, and Japan is Kimigayo. So let's listen the national anthems. Okay, those were the national anthems from both countries, Indonesia and Japan. So now the next agenda is the opening speech. The speech will be delivered by Bapak Ramlianto, Sekretaris Dinas Pendidikan Provinsi Jawa Timur. Kepada Bapak Ramlianto, waktu dan tempat kami persilahkan. Mungkin bisa di unmute dulu. Monggo Bapak Ramlianto.
Nggih, kedengaran nggih?
Ya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera untuk kita sekalian. Puji syukur kepada Allah SWT. Pagi ini saya secara mendadak dihubungi Pak Direktur tadi untuk bergabung di webinar ini. Yang kita hormati bersama Pak Ustadz Dr. Edi Kuncoro, Direktur Al-Hikmah, Mr. Takumi Morise, saya nggak tahu Mr. apa Mrs. nih, dari Aiwa Language Center. Pertama, menyampaikan permohonan maaf Pak Kepala Dinas Pendidikan Provinsi Jawa Timur yang tadi secara mendadak melimpahkan kegiatan ini kepada saya karena beliau harus ke luar kota dan sedang dalam perjalanan ke Madiun. Yang kedua, tanpa mengurangi rasa hormat dan makna penting dari kegiatan ini, izinkan saya selaku Sekretaris Dinas Pendidikan Provinsi Jawa Timur mewakili beliau dan ingin menyampaikan beberapa hal. Yang pertama, apresiasi tentu kepada Al-Hikmah Batu yang menyelenggarakan kegiatan webinar pagi ini. Yang kedua, menyampaikan salam dari Pak Kepala Dinas kepada seluruh peserta dan jajaran manajemen Al-Hikmah Batu. Dan yang ketiga, saya ingin sampaikan betapa kita berada pada posisi yang sangat penting ya. Saat ini kita terpilih sebagai generasi oleh Allah SWT sebagai generasi yang harus memiliki daya tahan yang luar biasa, memiliki kreativitas, memiliki inovasi yang luar biasa karena ada 1,78 miliar siswa di seluruh dunia menurut catatan UNESCO itu saat ini harus belajar dari rumah. Di Indonesia sendiri catatan dari Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan itu ada 68 juta lebih. Kalau dengan santri yang berada di pesantren itu mencapai hampir 100.000 lebih ya, yang 100 juta lebih dengan segala dengan semua jenjang pendidikan yang ada. Di Jawa Timur kami mencatat ada 5 juta siswa kita harus belajar dari rumah itu dengan santri. Nah, Bapak Ibu sekalian, di tengah pandemi seperti ini, kreativitas, inovasi dan sebagainya menjadi hal yang sangat dibutuhkan. Dan tentu saja di Jawa Timur kita sudah melakukan banyak hal bersama satuan pendidikan negeri dan swasta, baik PAUD, SD, SMP, SMA, MTS, MA, dan seterusnya, dan seluruh pesantren yang saat ini sebagian besar sudah memasukkan santrinya. Nah, ada beberapa hikmah dari pandemi ini yang harus menjadi catatan kita bersama, dan kami kampanyekan ini ke seluruh jajaran pendidikan di Jawa Timur. Yang pertama adalah kita mengalami pergeseran paradigma dari apa yang disebut sebagai schooling society ke learning society. Ini menjadi catatan penting. Kenapa? Karena sampai saat ini kalau kita lihat perkembangan secara epidemiologi, nampaknya rumah adalah tempat belajar yang paling aman, yang paling baik, yang paling selamat bagi anak-anak sekarang. Maka kata kuncinya bukan lagi pergi ke sekolah, tapi pergi belajar. Kelihatannya perubahan kata-kata ini sederhana, tapi sesungguhnya kalau kita dalami, ini adalah perubahan paradigma. Kita ingin membentuk masyarakat kita melalui pandemi COVID-19 ini dari apa yang disebut sebagai schooling society, masyarakat yang pergi ke sekolah, ke learning society, masyarakat yang pergi belajar, masyarakat yang belajar. Sehingga saat ini kita tetap menilai sampai, walaupun kami di Jawa Timur sudah melakukan uji coba pembelajaran tatap muka, tetapi itu sebagai sebuah simulasi dan pembelajaran bagi masyarakat. Intinya adalah saat ini rumah adalah tempat belajar yang paling baik. Ini menggeser esensi dari pendidikan kita, dari sekolah menjadi belajar. Mari kita sama-sama membangun komunitas baru ini, komunitas era pandemi ini, dari yakni yang kita sebut sebagai komunitas learning society. Saya kira ini sebagian besar peserta webinar juga dari rumah, bisa sambil masak, bisa sambil melakukan aktivitas yang lain tapi mendapatkan ilmu. Ini adalah sebuah learning society, sebuah kelompok baru masyarakat yang di-generate oleh pandemi COVID-19 ini. Yang kedua, Bapak Ibu sekalian, kami mensosialisasikan, mengkampanyekan ke seluruh jajaran pendidikan di Jawa Timur bahwa kata kunci suksesnya learning society sekarang adalah keluarga. Nah, ini terus kami kampanyekan. Jadi kami menerima ribuan WhatsApp ke Dinas Pendidikan, menerima ratusan komen di media sosial kami, betapa orang tua sekarang, betapa keluarga sekarang merasa sangat kelabakan mendampingi anak-anaknya belajar di rumah. Kalau kita pernah mendengar kata seorang penyair Mesir yang mengatakan al-ummi al-madrasatil ula, itu sekarang saatnya membuktikan. Kalau umi itu kita sebut sebagai ibu dan dalam makna yang sangat luas itu disebut keluarga, bahkan disebut rumah tangga, maka saatnya kita membuktikan bahwa keluarga adalah tempat belajar yang paling baik saat ini. Maka harmoni keluarga menjadi kata kunci. Ini adalah era membuktikan membalikkan riset-riset sosiologi yang menunjukkan bahwa semakin modern, semakin memasuki kita era postmodern, peran keluarga di pendidikan semakin kecil. Kita tahulah keluarga kita banyak menitipkan anak-anaknya di pesantren, di boarding school seperti Al-Hikmah, di sekolah full day, dan peran keluarga makin kecil. Pagi sampai sore mereka di rumah, malam tidak ada lagi PR karena memang di sekolah sudah tuntas pembelajarannya, lalu tidur. Pagi bangun berangkat sekolah lagi, apalagi yang di pesantren. Nah, sekarang saatnya keluarga membuktikan bahwa kita juga bisa mendampingi mereka. Karena memang kita sekarang bergeser dari apa yang disebut schooling society ke learning society. Yang ketiga, Bapak Ibu sekalian, yang ingin kami sampaikan bahwa bulan Maret 2020 yang lalu kita memasuki satu kondisi ya, fenomena yang kita sebut mendadak daring. Nah, mendadak daring ini membuat kita gagap, sebagian besar guru gagap. Ya, kalau guru Al-Hikmah mungkin sudah terbiasa dengan menggunakan teknologi informasi, tapi kami di Jawa Timur punya sekitar 100 ribu lebih guru ya yang kemudian harus mengakrabkan diri, membiasakan diri dengan pemanfaatan teknologi informasi. Nah, ini akibatnya tentu butuh percepatan kita untuk mengembangkan kapasitas kita di dalam memanfaatkan teknologi informasi. Kita telah dipilih dipilih oleh Allah SWT sebagai generasi untuk cepat belajar. Melalui COVID-19 ini kita telah memiliki wasilah untuk memasuki digitalisasi pendidikan lebih cepat lagi. Dan riset-riset yang kami lakukan di 3 bulan terakhir, target-target pembelajaran daring yang ditargetkan rata-rata 10-20% di renstra sekolah-sekolah maupun universitas itu jauh melampaui target ya. Banyak sekolah-sekolah yang 100% daring, banyak universitas yang 100% daring. Dari target 10-20%. Ini artinya apa? Pandemi COVID-19 telah menjadi madrasah bagi kita untuk lebih cepat memasuki digitalisasi pendidikan. Nah, mari dibalik kita kesedihan kita, dibalik kekhawatiran kita terhadap persoalan COVID-19 yang memang ini luar biasa dampaknya, tidak hanya pada kesehatan, tapi kepada sosial ekonomi, bahkan sebagian dari kita terdampak secara spiritual ya. Makanya kemudian kita ingin mencari, menggali hikmah-hikmah di balik kejadian ini. Sekali lagi, selamat dan sukses terhadap penyelenggaraan webinar yang diselenggarakan oleh Al-Hikmah ini. Mudah-mudahan kegiatan ini menjadi bagian tak terpisahkan dari upaya-upaya kita untuk memajukan pendidikan di Jawa Timur, memajukan pendidikan di Indonesia, untuk menghasilkan generasi emas Indonesia. Selamat dan sukses. Billahi fissabil haq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much Pak Ramlianto, Sekretaris Dinas Pendidikan Provinsi Jawa Timur, for your time and your speech. Before we step onto the main course, I want to warmly welcome Prof. Siswandari. Yeah. Prof. Siswandari used to be the chief of LPPKS, ya, Lembaga Pengembangan dan Pemberdayaan Kepala Sekolah Indonesia. Assalamualaikum, Prof. Prof. Siswandari also wrote letter of recommendations when I wanted to study to the United Kingdom in the University of Manchester. Thank you very much, Prof. I have graduated with now. And now we are stepping onto our main course, which is presentation from the two speakers. For your information, the both speakers are my friends. Yeah, I met Ustadz. I have been accompanying Ustadz Edi since 2011, so it has been 10 years, almost 10 years since he was the principal of SMA Ahlikmah Surabaya until now he is the director of Ahlikmah Boarding School. So 10 years that. And then also the second speaker, Mr. Takumi, I met him in 2013. He visited SMA Ahlikmah Surabaya. I used to be the coordinator of public relations at that time in Ahlikmah Surabaya. So he invited me to go to Japan, and I went there in 2014. And I went there again in 2017. So I've been 2 times going to Fukuoka. Yeah. So let's welcome our first speaker, Dr. Edi Kunchoro. In this occasion, Ustadz Edi or Dr. Edi Kunchoro will present his presentations about the challenge during pandemic situations, probably blessing in disguise. Ustadz Edi, time and room is yours. Okay.
Thank you, Pak Tolut. Wow. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya wal mursalin, Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The first of all, I want to greet some of my friends, special from Japan, Mr. Takumi Morise, arigato gozaimasu, Takumi-san, and his supposed Buhani, arigato Buhani, thank you for joining with our seminar. Also, staff of Iowa language. Thank you for Pak Ramli, Sekretaris Dinas Pendidikan Province, East Java Province, to give speech for us. Thank you for your support, our international webinar. Also, my friend from United States of America. Thank you, Ms. Ross, to join with our webinar. Also, my friend from Malaysia, from United Kingdom, from Kazakhstan. Oh, thank you for your supporting this webinar. I hope you are all in good condition. As we know, we are now in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic. So thank you, Pak Tolut, to give me opportunity to send my presentation. My presentation today entitled Indonesia Education Challenge in Pandemic Situation. Probably blessing in disguise. For my presentation, I want to look at this pandemic from another perspective. Perhaps we find some goodness in this less good condition. As stated in Al-Quran, from indeed with hardship will be easy. So, in start at the end of 2019, a news from Wuhan told us that there was a virus which is now called COVID-19. Attack the citizen there. In a very short time, it spread around the world, including our country, Indonesia, also Japan, I think. America, oh, not free from COVID-19, I think. It has stopped humans from doing many activities. It has locked us down inside our home, so that all aspects in our life seem suddenly stop and stuck, I think. Economic, politics, social, and of course, education. You know, we hear that information that 5 countries around the world, I mean German, Italy, Singapore, Philippines, also South Korea, in the bad condition with their economy. And how about in Indonesia? I hear that until now, 5.2% negative growing. So this is impact of COVID-19 in economics. Well, it started from Jakarta. After the first case was found there, the governor closed all the schools in Jakarta. Policy by Governor Anies Baswedan is followed by the other governors around Indonesia. Within less than a month, the education or schooling system in Indonesia was totally shifted. Ladies and gentlemen, this is also followed by the policy from the central government. The Minister of Education, I mean Mas Nadiem Makarim, issued Surat Edaran Mendikbud number 4, 2020, throughout that regulation, beside canceling the national exam of 2020 for all levels of education from elementary school until high school, it also mandates all schools to hold distance teaching and learning. Students are not allowed to come to school. They have to learn from home, and so the teacher do teaching from home. So, as I told, there was a very rapid shift in education, but it is not followed by specific curriculum. I think we need it. I mean, you know, in the normal condition, we found that teachers are struggling to teach students, and now they have to teach their students online or from distant learning. We really need a specific instruction from the central government. I am afraid if we still use the normal condition curriculum, we cannot reach the target of learning. Even the worst, students will learn nothing. And I am afraid that, you know, COVID-19 make everything is different. In this condition, who makes up? Everything is made up, I think. Schools, teachers, parents, students. For example, school in urban area perhaps find few difficulties to adopt the new condition. However, school in rural will be mixed up in this condition. A lot of problem appears. Human resource and facilities are main issue. How about the teachers? Teachers in Indonesia mostly are not prepared for online teaching, I think. The shift which is worsened by the absence of special curriculum, which makes them up either. As the children are not allowed to come to school, they have to stay at home, and parents have the problem. Parents find difficulties to handle this. Commonly, they just send their children to the school, and they can do either work or daily routine while their children are at school. But now they have to watch their children out at home. Again, they are not prepared for this. And how about the student? Student usually study at school, but now they have to study at home. No one supervises their learning activities directly like a teacher do at school as follow the old learning paradigms. Which is learning happen when it is taught. Many students are trapped into holiday paradigm. So they feel they have a very long holidays, everyday holidays. They don't have to study as there no teacher beside them. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this condition, everyone is confused. Okay, in my opinion, there are 5 challenges that need to be tackled dealing with this pandemic situation. So, the first, I took an article from Forbes. As you can see on your screen, it is said that most teachers around the world, also in Indonesia, I think, are not prepared for online teaching. They still use old pedagogy, which requires the meeting between teachers and students. I think it includes the teacher from Indonesia either. Perhaps it is worse than the average, I think. Well, in these conditions, I will show you about a white elephant phenomenon. Improved in learning levels are too small to justify the significant investment that the country has undertaken, including increasing salary of teacher dropout certification program. This is from Semeru Research 2018. I will take this research to justify why I have that opinion. In this research from Semeru in 2018, the paper entitled Education in Indonesia, White Elephant. White elephant is an English idiom. It means something that costs a lot of money but has no useful purpose. Improvement in learning levels are too small to justify the significant investment that the country has undertaken, including increasing salary of teachers throughout certification program. Sorry, my friend, I mean for all teachers who join with our webinar, until 70% participant is a teacher. So this is the real condition in our country. And in this condition, what teachers could do? The first, take some online course. Join, observe, compare, and pick one, the best. Then develop our own subject course. To deal with this distance learning, teacher can enroll some online course. There are many platforms providing free course. Teacher could learn their subjects there, and they can adapt the method of the teaching in that course. Well, for this condition, you can go to any platform and practice to create online multimedia materials. Our teachers should also practice to create online multimedia materials. Please don't just bring your lecturing activities, which usually done offline or in the classroom, to online. You have to push yourself to create an interactive material, such as Camtasia, if you want to create learning videos, or Storyline, if you make interactive learning application for your students. So we are in the era evidence. What is era evidence? Evident era is everything is free. Like every day we use WA, Line, etc. It's free for us. So there are so many tutorials you can find in YouTube. If you are mathematics subject in your school, please go to Khan Academy. You can find everything how to teach a good condition as a teacher mathematics to your students. Well, the third, teachers should be actively involved in the professional learning communities, where they can share their problem in distant teaching to their college. Perhaps one will have a proper solution for the other. In our context, you can be active in MGMP, Musyawarah Guru Mata Pelajaran, or other teacher communities. This is your opportunity to increase your competence in a pandemic era, I think. Challenge number 2, according to me, is how we could modify our curriculum. It is so lucky for us to Minister of Education, Pak Menteri Pendidikan, Mr. Nadiem Makarim, just issued a new regulation. What kind of regulation? Minister of Education Decree number 719 in 2020, in the pandemic condition, school can either use the current national curriculum or simplify it. This regulation you can download completely one, but I will focus on attachment point C number 2. In the pandemic condition, school can either use the current national curriculum or simplify it. This is a chance for school leaders to pick up some materials that really important so the future of the students. For their real life, it may be different from one city with the other cities, I think. You can adjust the material which the student need, not the national curriculum required. For example, in my school, I mean a junior and senior high school, Al-Hikmah, special in Batu, our student can plan what they want to study. If they want to study much more than the other subject, they can plan it via school system. My school system is called LCMS, Learning Content and Management System. It is a new platform special we create for our developer to help our teacher can teaching online system. And the teacher should be ready if there is request from student to study. We usually call that time as consultation time. We usually do it after school. Well, ladies and gentlemen, challenge number 3 is an effective instructional material. Please, teachers, don't just send assignment to students. Teachers should pay attention to several principles in creating their teaching materials. The materials should follow the principle of scientific thinking. So it starts from surfacing some facts, question the fact, gathering information and analyzing the information, and connect the knowledge they gain from the information to others. School leaders should supervise the instruction material and make sure it follows the principle. Well, cousin, I put from gpnn.com, belajar online mayoritas guru hanya memberi tugas tanpa interaksi dengan siswa. I think this is not good example. Please, our student need feedback. Please give feedback and reflection immediately to your student work. Don't wait until tomorrow. Why? Because our student need, we give feedback immediately. Your student need to improve their learning. In online teaching, once your student wait for the feedback too long, they will forget and they have just been learned. Challenge number 4, we're talking about parent engagement. As I mentioned in advance, before pandemic condition, most parents, I think, have paradigm that their responsibility to educate their children is done once they send their children to the school. I think this is a wrong paradigm. Those who are responsible for education children are parents, I think. It is their main duty. How about the school? I think school help them. This pandemic has pushed parents to get back into that responsibility. Really, I'm so sad when I heard that some parents blame school for this condition. I want to say that I really miss my students, but we know that we are in the force majeure situation. School are not allowed to hold direct teaching and learning. This is government instruction and we don't have no choice and we have to obey that. So I hope next month my children, my student, you can go to Batu and we meet again and we we create our daily activity like before pandemic 19, I think. So what could parents do? Well, work from home, I think the parents can have children to arrange tomorrow's study plan. Ask to your children, how about tomorrow? Everything is okay? And then discuss with children whether they achieve the targets or not. And this important active communication with the teachers. If you active communication with the teachers, you can have, you can 50% help your children finish their problem, I think. So challenge number 5, social community involvement. In Indonesia, we have gotong royong. Gotong royong is the culture of Indonesia. I don't know in Japan or in America. The effect of this pandemic, especially in our education, can be reduced if society work together. We have seen so many problems in education before the pandemic and it is getting worse nowadays. A lot of things can be done by societies to save our education in this pandemic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we know, gotong royong is our culture that perhaps other nations don't have it. Sorry, I drink first. What can society do to support education? I hear in Yogyakarta, an initiative called Bisa Belajar has been collecting donation for mobile data plans for students from low-income families. One such group is Wartawan Lintas Media, journalists across media, which was established by journalists from various media outlets in Jakarta. The group's latest project encourages people to donate old but still functioning smartphones to help students with no access to technology during the pandemic. The group is also collecting donations for mobile data plans. The minister is said that launched a website called Guru Berbagi. Please, our teacher, go to Guru Berbagi, because if you go to Guru Berbagi, you can solve your problem, to provide a space for teachers to share teaching methods and learning materials. How about in Al Hikmah? Well, Al Hikmah Boarding School Batu give webinars for free and send our teacher to RRI Malang to teach online. There are many teachers go to RRI to help RRI to teach a student from senior high school until now. And until now, there are many webinars created by boarding school Batu to serve the teacher around Indonesia. Not only this, but our committee, I mean Committee Sekolah Al Hikmah, collected donation to give financial support to teachers. And I hope in the future, not only collective financial, but to give our teacher, I mean, a new laptop, new gadget for support their activities. Well, at the end of my presentation, we talk about blessing in disguise. According to Cambridge Dictionary, blessing in disguise is mean something that seems bad or unlucky at first, but result in something good happening later. We know this pandemic brings so many bad things in education, but if we want to use another perspective, perhaps we will find blessing in disguise, especially in education. Moreover, according to my faith, it is taught that no matter good or bad, there will be hikmah is very condition will face. The first blessing in disguise, this condition has pushed teachers to upgrade their skill and professionalism in teaching. This might be the first blessing. This condition, whether you like it or not, has forced our teachers to improve their teaching skill. They are not only required to teach the students, but also how to use technology in teaching and learning. At least now the teachers know Zoom meeting, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, and other online platforms. It also encourages them to create effective learning materials and change their paradigm of teaching. Before pandemic, teaching is mean lecturing. But now they have to use different approaches and methods. Before pandemics, daily activity, the teacher go to the classroom and see with all the students in the classroom, teaching with lecturing method like this. But now we can use any platform to support our activity teaching to our students. Blessing in disguise number 2, our curriculum need to be evaluated. The governments may learn from this pandemic, I think, that our curriculum should be evaluated. As our curriculum requires students to study so many subjects. For example, in senior high school until 17 subjects, I think. It is, of course, too difficult to carry out in this situation. Curriculum should emphasize on how students think instead of that student learn. On the other word, we should move from product-oriented to process-oriented. This is important. Blessing disguise number 3, education is not exclusively the responsibility of schools. Parents and society also play crucial role. This pandemic is also taught us that education is not only the responsibility of school, but also societies, and mainly the parents, I think. A good quality of education will result a good society and vice versa. It is also the best time for parents to have more time with their children, to get closer to them, knowing and helping them to solve their problem. Well, the end of my presentation in Al-Quran, I mean in, what is it? Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in Surat Ar-Rum said that, and among his signs is this, that he create for you mates from among yourself, that you may find tranquility in them, and he has put between you affection and mercy. Verily, in that are indeed signs for people who reflect. Among his sign in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the difference of your language and colors. Verily, in that are indeed signs for men of sons. For a man of and sons knowledge. And among his signs, in the sleep that you take by night and by day, and you are seeking of his bounty. Verily, in that are indeed signs for a people who listen. And among his signs, in that it shows you the lightning, by way of fear and hope, and he sends down water or rain from the sky. And therewith revives the earth after its death. Verily, in that are indeed signs for a people who understand. In the end of my presentation, Surat Ar-Rum make us understand that. I hope we can take a message from it, that everything that Allah has created, there must be some lesson we can learn. Well, I think it's enough. Thank you for your attention. And Pak Tolut, it is yours. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ustaz Edi. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Give applause to Ustaz Edi. What an insightful presentation from Ustaz Edi as the director of Alimah Boarding School. And now the second presentations will be delivered by Mr. Takumi Morise, my friend from Fukuoka, Japan. He is the director of Iowa Language Institute. So, Pak Takumi, the room is yours.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Today I'm going to talk in English, but let me give you short message in Japanese. 皆さんおはようございます。私は森瀬匠と申します。今日はこのように素晴らしい機会をいただき、とても感謝しています。皆さんどうぞよろしくお願いします。I'm really grateful for this opportunity to meet you all over the distance across the countries. My name is Takumi from Iowa Language Institute in Japan. Let me introduce my team members. Okay. This is Hanik, my business partner at school and life partner at home. Okay. And this is Siddiq, our students before in Iowa, and now he become my team members. Okay. So in part 1, I will introduce school education in Japan in general, and following it, in part 2, I will talk about school education in Japan, specifically in corona pandemic situation. First of all, please look at those questions. Part 1 will hopefully give you an answer for those questions. Speaking of education, we have many types of schools in Japan, and I cannot talk about those schools one by one, so I'll just introduce you something general or unique about Japanese education and the schools in Japan. And in today's presentation, I do not mean to criticize the education system of either country. Now, I would like to talk about characteristics of Japanese society. Japanese society is compatible with collectivism, monoculturalism, but incompatible with liberalism or individualism. For those characteristics, the value of conformity has been developed, and it has become the most important value in Japan. Lack of individualism is not regarded as a serious problem in Japan because obeying social order is much more important than individual freedom. In the past, European education system was introduced by the Japanese government, and liberalism ideas were imported. However, these ideas did not match with the characteristics of Japanese society that I've just talked about. Then, in the year 1890, the imperial rescript on education was formalized by the Japanese emperor, and it has become supreme principles of educational policies in Japan. It teaches that the most important requirement for students is to be obedient or faithful to the emperor and the empire state. This nationalistic curriculum had a big influence on the education in Japan until World War II. And people say that it has developed Japanese people's self-sacrificing ideas. Okay, now, I will show you some pictures which represent characteristics of school education in Japan. Please guess what they are doing. Okay. One of the characteristics of school education in Japan is emphasizing on memorization. For example, regular progress tests or entrance exams at school just examine mainly knowledge. So you can get a good score if you memorize the school textbooks. This system works well when we remember kanji, because we have to memorize thousands of kanji, which has many strokes during the school years. For example, my name is written like this in kanji. Another characteristic is that we have very strict rules in Japan. In the school, we wear uniform, and things like length of hair, nail, or skirt, and color of socks or hair are determined by the school. Last characteristics is all-around style education. Japanese students not only study certain subject at school, but also eat lunch together, clean the classroom together, and after school, they may play sports together. All sorts of such activities are regarded as a part of school education. Consequently, teachers' job is not just teaching subject, but they have to do many other things. This Japanese style education has been highly appreciated internationally. However, strengths can be weakness at the same time. Because of those mentioned activities, Japanese teachers are considered as the busiest teachers in the world. They have to stay at school from early morning until very late at night. Based on the characteristics that I've explained just now, some unique system and habit have been developed. Now, I'm going to show you some examples. One of them is this. We call it mae e narae, which means form in line. We have practiced this since early childhood, so we are used to stand in line in front of ATM, bus stop, and everywhere. Japanese people have learned how to move in a group without confusion and keep a precise distance with each other. This is another unique habit, cleaning the school together as a part of responsibility training. We are taught that cleaning is not somebody's job, but your job. Next habit is club activity. Many students join activities of their choice after school hours. Next one is about uniform. This one is about cooperation and team building. This is about the importance of order. This is about leadership practice. Okay. And school lunch as a part of training and education. Okay. Now, let me show you some video for this, but please be careful about the volume. Maybe it is better to adjust your volume because it may be a bit loud. Okay. So now we will show you the video. Please wait for a while. Okay.
はい、では消毒もらって2列です。
はい。すごいすごい。取れてる取れてる取れてるよ。取ってるよ。すごい。やばい。
先生が出てる。はい、じゃあせーの、せーで5年2組おいしい給食いただきます。はい、じゃあ食品
これなんていうの？
マッシュポテトみたいなのは、5、6人分残ってます。スープは結構残っています。ご苦労様でした。皆さんこんにちは。はい。冒頭の時間になりました。いただきます。じゃがいもは6年生が作られてたじゃがいもです。そして一人だからのライスを使ってカレーや肉になるときにパン、バター。
今日のマッシュポテトのじゃがいもは6年生が育てたじゃがいもです。針ヶ谷の農園で採れたものを使ってます。みんなも今年のね3月ぐらいにね芋を植えるから、それで来年みんなが収穫して。
ゆうちゃんおかわり。ゆうちゃん美味しい？今日はなんだっけ？魚と？
パンと、白玉とポテトとケール。
Okay, now let's move on to the next one. This is about role sharing during the lunch time. Okay. And this is some routines during school lunch. Multifunction classroom. After lunch activities. So education should be something fun and enjoyable for the students. Okay. In the previous part, I have talked about education in Japan in general, and now I'm going to talk about school and classrooms in corona pandemic situation. So before proceeding, please look at those questions. Part 2 will hopefully give you an answer for those questions. First of all, let's see what Japanese government has been doing during the pandemic situation. As you can see, on February 28th, public schools were shut down. Then, on April 16th, national emergency was declared, and May 26th, national emergency was lifted except for Tokyo and Osaka. In addition to those measurements, we have public awareness campaign in Japan, which is called Sanmitsu. It consists of 3 Japanese words: Mippei, closed spaces; mishu, crowds, and missetsu, close contact. They are the three conditions that facilitate the transmission of infectious diseases. Therefore, we should avoid those situations. So, I will show you how 3密 principles have been adopted to school and classrooms. First, students' desks are arranged like this to keep a distance from each other. We must leave windows open even when we use an air conditioner. We must wear a mask or face shield. Students do not face each other, but face the same direction. We ask students to use a small voice. Washing hands is something common in Japan, even before the pandemic situation. We must take temperature before entering a school or classroom. When it is sunny, we encourage students to play outside during the break time. When it is rainy, we encourage students to read books or do self-study. During lunchtime, we still eat together, but do not face each other. We impose many restrictions on students, which may become a cause of stress. So we have a mental counselor for those students. Okay. Now, let me show you another video. So please be careful. Please adjust the volume. It may be a bit loud for you. Okay. So please.
大切なのは感染を防ぎ、授業の遅れを取り戻すこと。こんなところにまで気を配っています。
どうですか？さっきの話と比べてだいぶ聞き取りやすいですか？
生徒が聞き取りやすいようにワイヤレスマイクを、使わせてもらって、
マスク外して授業っていうのもなかなかね、今この時代できないので、聞き取りやすいっていうのを大前提に準備させてもらったっていう形です。ここにね。
こちらの高校では休校期間中に教職員たちが知恵を出し合い対策を練ってきました。一方、学校再開にあたり文部科学省は先週金曜日に学校生活の行動基準をレベル別に分けると通達しました。こちらも新しい生活様式に合わせて人同士での距離を取るなどの内容が示されていますが、突然の方針決定は現場に混乱をもたらしかねません。
教室を急に広くするとか教員の人数を増やすってことはなかなかできることではないので、ある程度の時間をいただいて工夫していくというふうにしないと対応が難しいと思います。感染は拡大は止め、学びを止めないという。
Okay, thank you very much. So before proceeding to the last point, please have a look at this. So what do you think? Okay. Please read those two questions. How does Japan benefit from its education system during corona pandemic? And what kind of challenges does Japan have in facing the current education system? Example of good habits and practice in Japanese societies are wearing masks, washing hands, wearing room slippers, cleaning, maintaining food hygiene. They have become a common sense even before the pandemic situation. You have seen some of those good habits at schools in my previous slides. Shaking hands, hugging, or kissing are not really part of Japanese greeting culture, but we bow to each other. Japanese people maintain certain distance in daily social life. As you can see in the table, 72.6% of corona patients have recovered with only 1.9% of fatality rate. Alhamdulillah. According to the research review, there are some cultural factors benefiting Japan in coping with pandemic situation as mentioned on the slide. I have explained some of the points before, and I will just add a little bit here. If you visit Japan, you will notice that cleanliness has been a part of Japanese culture. A history record mentioned that Japanese people like cleaning their bodies and neighborhood areas more than other nations. Japanese medical facilities and healthcare systems are among the top in the world. Let's see a meme made by American in the next slide. Please have a look at this by yourself. I will leave some time for you. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Confirmed corona cases from 10th to 16th of August from WHO. It is hard to see, but maybe Japan is between the second and the third color in the map. The first color in the top refers to the least cases, and fifth refers to the most cases. Is Japan safe from corona pandemic? It is difficult to answer because every pandemic has its own characteristics and natures. A nation may survive in one pandemic type, but may not in other types. Japan also has its own challenges to face. While Japan may have been recognized as a country of high technology and invention, the corona pandemic has given a very big challenges to its education sector because not all schools are ready for online learning system. Most schools in Japan have started to open again from end of May after being shut down at the end of February. And some schools have started to reopen even earlier because many schools are not ready to run online education. The local government has provided some short videos for online study as an alternative options, but they are not updated regularly and the contents are not integrated to the school curriculum. Most working parents have to think of their kids' education and how to supervise their study during the long holidays. Japan has been very confident with its education system and allocate most of the education fund for teachers, books, and school facilities, but not for online system. For example, high school teachers with 1 to 4 years experience earns 3,360,000 Japanese yen annually, and after 20 years or above experience earns 7,500,000 Japanese yen. Japan has definitely benefited from its education system in coping with the pandemic situation. Nevertheless, the system still has many rooms for improvement in order to cope with such unexpected situation. Corona pandemic has been a real wake-up call for Japan to review and improve its future education policy. Online education system should be incorporated in the current system as an alternative to enhance the education system in Japan. No country is completely safe from corona pandemic. Therefore, information sharing and cooperation among the countries have become unavoidable options. Finally, it is interesting to notice that some countries are shifting fast to the online system. In contrast, Japan still tries to preserve its offline systems with strict precaution. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Let me give you my last messages in Japanese. 皆さん、ご清聴ありがとうございました。今、世界は大変な状況にありますが、すべての物事や状況は神様によって決められていて、それらには必ず意味があります。それは私たちが健康であることのありがたさや、お互いに助け合うことの大切さに気づくことかもしれません。そして今、新しい価値観や生活様式もどんどん生まれてきています。それにより、今日このように国を越えて皆さんとセミナーをすることができました。このコロナパンデミックの状況はまだまだ続くかもしれませんが、皆さん希望を持って頑張りましょう。そして助け合いましょう。Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, please let my wife explain the major point in Indonesian language. Okay?
Baiklah Bapak dan Ibu, kini izinkanlah saya untuk menyampaikan beberapa poin penting yang tadi disampaikan dalam presentasi yang baru lalu. Jadi secara umum masyarakat Jepang itu memegang teguh prinsip kolektivisme yang melahirkan budaya tunggal atau keseragaman. Jadi corak budaya ini merupakan kebalikan dari sistem individualisme dari budaya Barat. Bagi masyarakat Jepang, kepatuhan terhadap norma atau nilai sosial itu jauh lebih utama daripada kebebasan individu. Sebenarnya dulu Jepang pun pernah mencoba untuk mengadopsi sistem pendidikan di Eropa ini, tetapi ternyata sistem tersebut tidak cocok dengan kondisi masyarakat Jepang. Akhirnya pada tahun 1890, dokumen Kekaisaran yang baru tentang pendidikan diresmikan dan dijadikanlah sebagai acuan utama dalam mengambil kebijakan pendidikan di Jepang. Poin-poin penting dalam dokumen tersebut adalah bahwa fokus pendidikan di Jepang adalah pendidikan moral yang berdasarkan pada prinsip kolektivisme dan bertujuan untuk menjadikan individu yang patuh kepada kaisar atau kekaisaran. Adapun beberapa ciri pendidikan di Jepang diantaranya adalah yang pertama adalah menekankan pada metode hafalan. Dan metode tersebut sangat cocok di Jepang. Kenapa? Karena siswa di Jepang itu harus mengingat ribuan kanji selama sekolah. Kemudian yang kedua adalah aturan yang sangat ketat. Jadi seragam, warnanya kaos kaki, warna tas, panjangnya kuku, panjang rambut, semua diperiksa, ditentukan oleh sekolah di Jepang. Jadi sangat ketat. Kemudian yang ketiga adalah pendidikan paket komplit. Dalam arti siswa tidak belajar hanya bidang akademis saja, tapi juga ada latihan kepemimpinan, pembagian tugas dan tanggung jawab, seperti saat piket kebersihan, dan juga makan siang. Contoh-contoh ini sekaligus merupakan aplikasi praktis dari prinsip pendidikan di sekolah. Dan hal tersebut berlangsung dari pagi hingga sore. Karenanya guru di sekolah di Jepang itu terkenal sebagai orang yang tersibuk di dunia. Karena di sekolah dari pagi sampai sore dan malam. Berikutnya adalah bagaimanakah praktek pendidikan di Jepang dalam situasi pandemi. Seperti tadi disebutkan bahwa pemerintah Jepang pada tanggal 28 Februari memutuskan untuk menutup semua sekolah. Dan kemudian 16 April mengeluarkan darurat nasional. Tapi darurat nasional kemudian dicabut pada tanggal 26 Mei. Selain situasi tersebut, pemerintah Jepang juga berusaha mengkampanyekan apa yang dinamakan kesadaran sosial, yaitu 3 hal yang tadi disebut Sanmitsu. Jadi Sanmitsu itu terdiri dari menghindari untuk tidak berkumpul di ruang tertutup, kerumunan sosial, dan kontak yang tidak berjarak. Sistem pembelajaran di Jepang tetap dilaksanakan dengan protokol kesehatan yang sangat ketat, seperti tadi ditayangkan di slide-slide yang baru lalu. Selalu bermasker, jaga jarak, menghindari kerumunan, meja yang diatur jaraknya, dan sebagainya. Pertanyaannya kemudian adalah, sejauh manakah pendidikan di Jepang itu telah menunjang penanganan pandemi corona? Dan juga tantangan apa saja yang sebenarnya dihadapi oleh Jepang dalam situasi pandemi ini. Sistem pendidikan yang melahirkan banyak kebiasaan baik, serta nilai disiplin dalam menaati aturan sosial telah ikut membantu Jepang dalam menekan laju kasus corona berikut menekan angka kematian di Jepang. Tadi hanya 1,9% sampai minggu lalu. Di samping tentu saja faktor budaya Jepang sendiri yang sudah bagus seperti budaya salam tanpa melibatkan kontak langsung anggota badan, kebersihan, kesehatan, dan lain-lain seperti tadi yang ditayangkan. Apakah hal tersebut berarti bahwa Jepang aman dari situasi pandemi? Pertanyaan yang sangat sulit dijawab. Mengapa? Sebab setiap jenis pandemi memiliki ciri dan cara penularan yang berbeda. Jepang juga memiliki tantangan dan masalah problematis yang harus dihadapi. Di antaranya adalah kapan harus mulai membuka sekolah. Jadi ada yang mulai akhir Mei sesuai aturan pemerintah, tapi ada juga yang mengambil resiko untuk memulai lebih awal. Mengapa? Karena ternyata kebanyakan sekolah tidak siap dengan sistem online. Kemudian pemerintah pun telah berusaha untuk menyediakan beberapa video singkat, namun tidak terupdate secara rutin dan juga tidak terintegrasi dengan kurikulum sekolah. Masalah baru bagi orang tua di Jepang yang kebanyakan bekerja adalah bagaimana untuk melakukan supervisi terhadap pendidikan anak-anaknya bila dan saat sekolah libur panjang seperti pandemi. Kemudian yang tidak kalah dilematisnya adalah adanya beberapa klaim mengapa Jepang tidak merintis sistem pendidikan online sejak dulu. Walaupun memiliki budget pendidikan yang sangat besar, seperti contohnya pada 2019, budget pendidikan di Jepang itu adalah 5,38 triliun. Nah, ternyata budget yang besar tersebut dialokasikan untuk guru, buku, dan fasilitas lain, namun tidak untuk sistem online. Sebagai gambaran, guru di SMA itu dengan masa kerja 1-4 tahun, gaji per tahunnya sekitar 468 juta rupiah satu tahun.
Mohon diulang, Bu Ani. Mohon diulang.
Oh ya, jadi untuk guru SMA dengan masa kerja 1-4 tahun, guru baru itu ya, itu gajinya satu tahun itu 468 juta.
Saya ngelamar, Bu Ani.
Nah, sedangkan untuk guru yang dengan masa kerja 20 tahun seperti Ustadz Edi, jadi gaji per tahunnya itu di atas 1 miliar.
Allahu Akbar.
Jadi terlihat sekali ya betapa Jepang itu menghargai guru sebagai garda utama pendidikan. Semoga suatu saat negara tercinta saya juga amin. Jadi kesimpulannya walau ada banyak manfaat dari sistem pendidikan saat ini, sistem online tetap diperlukan sebagai sarana penunjang yang diperlukan dan akan berguna untuk mengantisipasi situasi baru yang tidak normal seperti pandemi. Corona menjadi semacam alarm bagi Jepang untuk meninjau kembali kebijakan pendidikannya. Tak ada satupun negara yang menurut kami yang sepenuhnya aman dari pandemi. Untuk itu, mari kita saling bersinergi dan bekerja sama untuk mengatasi masalah ini. Akhirnya sangat menarik ya ketika mengamati fenomena di mana banyak negara yang langsung merubah sistem pendidikannya menjadi sistem pendidikan online, tetapi Jepang malah sebaiknya. Jadi Jepang itu tetap berusaha untuk mempertahankan sistem yang ada dengan protokol kesehatan yang ketat. Walaupun Jepang itu dikenal sebagai negara berteknologi tinggi dan penuh inovasi, tapi tidak rely kepada pendidikan online. Demikian disampaikan. Terima kasih atas perhatian Bapak dan Ibu semua. Jadi saya akan terjemahkan yang tadi pesan dalam bahasa Jepang. Saat ini dunia berada dalam situasi yang sulit, tetapi semua itu merupakan bagian dari ketentuan Allah yang pasti ada hikmahnya. Mungkin salah satunya adalah agar kita lebih menghargai nikmat sehat yang Allah berikan kepada kita. Ada banyak hal baru bermunculan dari pandemi ini. Salah satunya adalah maraknya teknologi komunikasi jarak jauh, hingga kita juga bisa mengadakan seminar dan silaturahmi bersama, walau kita berada di tempat yang berbeda-beda. Situasi pandemi corona ini mungkin akan terus berlanjut, namun mari kita semua terus berdoa dan melakukan yang terbaik, serta saling membantu. Demikian kurang dan lebihnya mohon maaf. Kami tunggu kalau ada pertanyaan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the speech, Bu Hani and Pak Takumi. When I listen to Pak Takumi's voice, it makes me, missing Japan so badly. It seems like, the accents of Japanese people all same. So I also heard that in public spaces like in stations, the announcers say accent is similar to yours, Pak Takumi.
Yeah, please come again. We are waiting.
That's why I put background here. This is when I visited Pak Takumi's house.
Yeah, my family. Yeah.
with my wife. Okay, now we are in the question and answer session. There are some questions that are sent via chat, Zoom chat, or via YouTube. I will pick some of them. The first question, I think all the questions are sent to Pak Takumi, I think. Yeah. So
yeah, I got some already. I got some. Yeah.
The first question, bagaimana mengajarkan kebersihan di sekolah dan apa peran guru dalam pengajaran kebersihan tersebut? So how to teach cleanliness at school and what is the role of teachers? I think it is the role of teachers in Japan. But also Ustadz Edi can also give complementary related to these questions. What Al-Hikmah teacher also do to support cleanliness at school, to teach cleanliness. Okay, Pak Takumi, maybe you can directly answer that.
Okay, so during the cleaning time, okay, so the teacher move around the school and supervise, okay, and watch the students cleaning, and also sometimes teacher themselves clean the classroom together with the students.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's the answer from Pak Takumi. What about Ustadz Edi? Maybe you have additional answer. What the teachers of Al-Hikmah boarding school have done to support this cleanliness program?
Ya, saya boleh menjawab dalam bahasa Indonesia ya?
Yes, you may, of course.
Ya, thank you Takumi-san. Di Al-Hikmah, di SMA dan SMP Al-Hikmah boarding, jadi mengajarkan kebersihan itu sederhana. Kami mensucikan semua area sekolah. Kemudian siswa itu termasuk guru ketika masuk ke area sekolah, gedung sekolah maksud saya, harus dalam keadaan berwudu. Ya, jadi anak-anak itu kalau misalnya kepingin ke belakang, izinnya kepada guru, excuse me Usada, I will go to water closet and I will evaluation to there. So this is our habit in our school. Jadi basicnya adalah ngajari, membawa memiliki wudu bagi anak-anak itu. Jadi anak-anak kami, guru-guru kami senantiasa menjaga wudu, ya. Itu yang kami ajarkan kepada anak-anak. Terima kasih.
Let me add one point. Okay. Yeah, of course, we go to school like from 6 years old. Okay, so some small kids. Okay, they are not really trained. Okay, so the teacher has to show the models. Okay, and of course, the kids are sometimes very lazy. Okay, so they just play around, and when the teacher comes, they just pretend to be cleaning. Okay, so it takes long years, okay, to have the habit. Okay, so teacher has to do the same thing together with the students. Okay, show how they do it. Okay, show the example. Okay, and then little by little, and the habit is developed.
Okay, now there is one of participants want to ask the presenters directly. Pak Isbudi, yes, the room is yours now.
Yes, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Honorable Ustaz Edi Kuncoro, my teacher.
Thank you, Pak Isbudi, for joining this seminar.
Yes, it is the first webinar I ever joined. I never joined webinar. Thank you so much for invitation to make me want to join this webinar. Thank you so much. Honorable Mr. Takumi from Japan, really interested, you know, that the material you elaborate in this webinar. Let me have some question for Ustaz Edi and Mr. Takumi. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this webinar. So that's why I asked for permission for the host that let me ask directly. Ustaz Edi,
yes.
You know that in this situation, transferring knowledge can be done effectively. I know that transferring knowledge is really effective because I agree with your statement that make us as teacher, especially our competence and our skill can be, you know, that can be improved well. So, but one thing, Ustaz Edi, that I always have a question in my mind is transferring knowledge, like I said, that can be done effectively. But what about transferring behavior, moral education, like Mr. Takumi said? That I have always questioned about that, because when we met our student in class, in the school, it is easily, you know, that giving example is the key. Giving example is the key to, you know, that to shape our student in moral education. That's the first question for me. And the second question is, Sadedi, like you said that the curriculum must be evaluated. It is the positive things that we can have in coronavirus situation right now. But you know that not all material can be taught by online. Not all material. For example, like in lab, it is impossible that they can do lab if they don't have laboratory place at home. That's two questions from Satedi. For Mr. Takumi, you know that I watched the video. It's a really interesting video when I watched that the students have do simple habits like when they lunch together in line, and then cleaning floors together, tidying up, saying thanks to the teacher after they got you know that they got class from the teacher, so they have to say thank you together. It is really interesting. And the second thing interesting that from the video, the students are involved actively to prepare lunch. They take some tools from the kitchen, and you know that they prepare lunch to their friends. It is really interesting. But my question for Mr. Takumi, number one, is why the simple habit must be planted to the students? Why? It is really simple habits, I think. Why must be planted? What about the senior high school? Is it still planted to the student in high schools? That's the first question for me. The second question is, you know that the simple habits must be planted at school. In corona virus situation now, how to know that the student habits are done at home? That's the question for Mr. Takumi. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for giving me chance, Mr. Tolot. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good question from Ustadz Isbudi. Ustadz Isbudi is the teacher of Al-Hikmah Senior High School, Surabaya. Okay, maybe Ustadz Edi, do you want to answer it? The two questions from Ustadz Isbudi.
Okay, thank you for Pak Isbudi to join with our international webinar. So, for the first question, you asked about, I think it's not effective if we teach our student if in domain attitude, online learning, I think, is effective only for transfer knowledge. If we want to change our student attitudes, but not from our activity from online learning, I think we need the real condition. We meet our student face to face, and then we teach our students their attitude, to change their attitude by example. I agree with your opinion. If we want to teach knowledge domains, online learning is okay. But if we want to change our student domain and attitude, I think online learning is not effective. The second, I agree with your opinion about evaluate every curriculum. You know, online learning is not 100% effective. If we teach our student in laboratorium, I think online learning is not effective. Online learning only effective if we transfer of knowledge. But if we increase our student in domain skill, also in their attitudes, I think online learning is not effective. I think it's enough.
So I hope Ustadz Edi answers the questions from Pak Isbudi. And now, Pak Takumi, it's your time to answer Pak Isbudi's questions.
Yeah, sorry, it was muted. Okay, so let me answer the question. The first question. Okay, so how the simple habit is okay. I know. How the simple habit is taught at school. Okay, so everything that students do, the teacher always together with the students. Okay, so the teacher do everything with the students so that they can show the example. Okay, and why simple habit must be taught at school? Okay, because Japanese education style, one of the characteristics is all around style. Everything we do at school is regarded as a part of education. So every single matters. Okay, we regard it as a education. Okay? And the second question, okay, whether the simple habit is taught at home or not. Okay, this one depends on the family. So if the family have the same idea, okay, maybe they do. Okay, but if they have another idea, we don't know. So it's all depend on the family. Okay? You can translate.
Maybe I will elaborate a little bit from my husband's answer, and maybe I'll say it in bahasa to make it clearer, I think. So sesuatu yang kadang kita sebut sederhana itu sebenarnya tidak sesederhana itu. Apalagi kalau usia anak di Jepang itu kan mulai sekolah dari usia 4 tahun. 4 years, Yocheng. Jadi dari masa golden age itu mereka sudah dikirim ke sekolah. Makanya dari kebiasaan simple seperti cara cuci tangan, cara supaya sandal itu teratur rapi. Jadi ada mannernya. Kalau kita bertamu, sandalnya itu harus ditata rapi di gengkang. What is gengkang in English? Itu di kayak ruang utama di depan pintu begitu, itu harus tertata rapi, nggak sembarangan begitu. Nah, kenapa itu pun diajarkan di sekolah? Karena memang masa golden age anak-anak Jepang itu rata-rata ada di sekolah. Dan kalau kita meninjau kembali dari reskrip pendidikan Jepang tadi yang dikeluarkan 1890, bahwa fokus utama pendidikan Jepang itu adalah pendidikan moral. Jadi memang moral dan karakter building, makanya ada menyapu, ada tadi juga selintas, semoga ini menjawab pertanyaan yang di chat yang mungkin tidak sempat diambil ya. Bagaimana mengajarkan kebersihan kepada lingkungan, Kak, di Jepang ada. Jadi mereka ada nanti partisipasi bersih-bersih di lingkungan sekolah dan sebagainya, itu ada. Dan yang menarik lagi ya kalau dihubungkan dari yang tadi bahwa Jepang itu teknologi maju dan juga invensinya tinggi, tapi kenapa dengan sistem pendidikan offline-nya yang mereka itu pede begitu? Karena memang fokusnya itu karakter building, makanya buat Jepang itu offline education itu lebih menguntungkan. Dan sebenarnya kalau dalam tradisi kita ya, salah satu bapak pendidikan Muslim itu bahwa adab sebelum ilmu begitu. Nah sepertinya sekali lagi saya bilang bahwa itu adalah the stolen culture. Karena Jepang yang mempraktekkan itu. Jadi mereka fokus kepada pendidikan adab, moral karakter, baru ilmunya kemudian. Dan tadi ada bagaimana cara menghafal supaya efektif begitu ya. Nah itu di Jepang itu memang menarik sekali. Kalau Ibu lihat tulisan suami saya tadi namanya Takumi Morise. Itu satu kanji itu ada 12 stroke, 12 coretan dan urutannya harus benar. Itu pun ada urutannya. Makanya kenapa budaya menghafal itu menjadi salah satu metode utama untuk pengajaran di Jepang. Jadi mungkin itu sekilas dari saya. Kemudian untuk yang apakah di rumah itu dipraktekkan juga begitu? Paling tidak sepertinya kalau saya melihat itu tadi tergantung dari keluarga masing-masing. Tapi paling tidak anak-anak Jepang itu kalau di luar mereka itu akan well behave. Jadi ibaratnya bahkan suami saya itu berprinsip di rumah kamu boleh nakal atau boleh sedikit melanggar aturan lah begitu kalau untuk anak-anak karena usia belajar. Tapi begitu dia melanggar hukum di luar, suami saya sangat keras. Dia akan dihukum oleh suami saya. Jadi itulah adalah gambaran karakter pendidikan di Jepang. Mungkin demikian dari saya. Mohon maaf kalau kepanjangan. Terima kasih.
Sekaligus mungkin begini Pak Tolut, tadi yang disampaikan Pak Esbudi itu ya kurang lebih sama ya dengan yang kita terapkan di sini. Jadi kita sampai hari ini menganggap bahwa kalau bicara online ya domainnya harus kognitif. Tapi kalau kita sudah bicara bagaimana menanamkan akhlak, kebiasaan-kebiasaan baik, moralitas, ya rasanya online masih punya banyak keterbatasan. Sehingga saya berpikir mohon doa dari semua yang ikut seminar ini, bagaimana berdoa agar segera pandemi berakhir dan anak-anak bisa ketemu kita lagi, karena disitulah peran kita yang utama adalah membentuk karakter siswa. Barangkali begitu. Kembali ke Pak Tolut.
Yeah, there are I've got so many questions, but I don't think I can ask all of them to the presenters because we have very limited time. I appreciate all the questions. I will pick one of them. I think this is the last questions before we end the meeting. I think this is for Pak Takumi again. How many times do the students go to school in a week in this corona pandemic? Is there any changes? How many times?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So students go to school from Monday to Saturday. Okay? But I think Saturday only half day. Okay. Yeah. So it's almost normal. Okay. No change from morning until the late afternoon. They stay at school.
Oh, okay. That's so there is no change.
No change.
Okay.
Yeah. But of course, with like precaution, like wearing masks, washing hands, and so on. Yeah. But other than that, it's almost normal.
Okay, with a very strict protocol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all questions and answer session for today's webinar. If you are still curious, if you're curious about the topic, you can ask the presenters. There are the presenters have share the contact. Okay, you can contact them through their emails. Okay. Now we are on the last sessions of today's webinar. Before we close this webinar, it will be better if we pray together. The praying will be led by Ustadz Mim Saifuladi. Ustadz Mim, the room is yours. Ustadz Mim. Wes. Are you still muted, Pak Mim? Ustadz Mim? Yeah, while waiting for Ustadz Mim, I'll tell you about this. So all the certificates of this webinar will be sent to you via email. So wait for 2 to 3 days. I think the certificates will reach your email, your inbox. Ustadz Mim? I think Ustadz Mim has low connection. He could not connect to our meeting today, so I feel so sorry for this inconvenience. Just let's close this webinar by saying hamdalah and doa kafaratul majlis. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, subhanakallah wa bihamdika, asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Thank you very much for your all attention, the participants. I hope we can meet again in other webinar, in other occasions, in a better condition. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, Pak Takumi. I really miss you.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
Please come to Japan. Please come to Japan.
Enjoy the Hanami, but until now, make it stay at
Maybe
home.
next Hanami, insyaAllah, next year Hanami.
Next Hanami, next year.
Next year.
Amin.
We are waiting for you.
Okay, thank you. And I watch your, what is it, background? Look, Sakura. Wow.
This one, Sakura.
Miss Hanami in Japan, I think. Yeah.
Takumi, come to Madiun. I will give you the puppet. You see behind you. Come to Madiun, okay?
Imran, Pak Takumi usually come to our country, to Indonesia. Would you please, if Pak Takumi come to our country, you invite him to come to your school, I think. What do you think about it?
Sorry?
No, he suggested Pak Imam, if you come to, for you to come to that.
Wow. Thank you, everybody, special for Pak Takumi, Bu Hani, also Miss Ohata, and all teams from Iowa Language Institute. I think this is not the first and the end of our cooperation, and hope in the future we make even like this. And in my mind, maybe 2 or 3 months later, we invite your student to join with international conference, and then our student make resolution. After resolution finish, they will send to WHO how participant of the student against coronavirus, I think. What do you think about it?
Good idea.
Nice idea, Ustaz.
Okay. Okay. And all participants, if you want if you are interested in my activity, please join with us in 2 or 3 months later. Thank you very much.
Insyaallah Pak Edi, thank you so much.
Terima kasih Pak Imron Rosidi. Terima kasih Prof.
Pak Imran ini seperti Rizal Ramli ya Pak ya wajahnya.
Oh, really?
You look like Professor Rizal Ramli.
Thank you, Bu Hani.
I was surprised when I saw your profile. Oh, Professor Rizal Ramli.
Terima kasih untuk Bu
Datang ke Madiun, Bu Hani. Ada wayang bagus nih.
Iya Pak. Insya Allah kalau waktu mengizinkan.
Bu Ros from New York. Terima kasih untuk Prof. Siswandari, guru besar dari Universitas Negeri 11 Maret. Beliau guru besar ilmu statistik, join dengan kita, luar biasa. Ini ada Kaprodi dari Ibu Kaprodi dari Winsa ini, Bu Muklisa. Terima kasih juga join dengan aktivitas webinar kami. Insya Allah luar biasa ini, banyak sekali yang gabung dengan kita, baik lewat Zoom maupun lewat YouTube.
Mohon maaf Ustadz Edi dan teman-teman, tadi sepertinya waktu presentasi filenya tidak tertangkap dengan baik ya, karena ada feedback yang masuk ke saya. Saya tidak tahu kenapa tampilannya jadi berubah dibanding dengan pas kami rehearsal dulu.
Iya.
Mohon maaf sekali.
Kami belum tahu ini Bu Ani, padahal bandwidth-nya kami naikkan yang biasanya pakai 40 Mbps, sekarang kita naikkan jadi 100 Mbps full.
Oh.
Ya. Harapan kami sebenarnya bisa lebih clear.
Iya.
Tapi tidak apa-apa. Bisa.
Don't worry. Yeah, we can improve next time.
Ya, thank you. Satu misal.
Tapi bagus Ustadz Edi dari Solo.
Oh,
paparan.
Terima kasih Prof. Sis. Masya Allah. Kami semua kangen Prof.
Salam kenal Ibu. Ibu Siswandari.
Terima kasih.
J. Matur nuwun.
Masukan J.
Namun terbatas sekali Bu karena waktu. Dan belum maksimal. Kami masih belajar juga.
J. Mau saya izin lift dulu.
Monggo, matur nuwun Ibu.
Terima kasih. Mohon izin karena saya sebentar lagi harus menempuh perjalanan cukup jauh. Mohon izin untuk lift lebih awal. Terima kasih untuk semuanya.
Ya amanilah Ustadz Edi. Semoga lancar. Amin. Mohon maaf batin. Kami juga izin lift. Ada amanah lain.
Terima kasih. Saya juga izin lift.
Terima kasih. Miss Ohata, thank you very much. Bu Ros, thank you very much.
Oke. Makasih Ustadz. Thank you everybody.
Iya, terima kasih Ustadz.
Saya.
Terima kasih semuanya. Dan lagi ya Ustadz.
Ya, Bu Fauzan, terima kasih ya bergabung ya Bu Fauzan. Bu Faik Rosida.
Terima kasih Ustadz Edi, terima kasih semuanya.
Sama-sama.
Ya.
Mohon maaf.
Waalaikumsalam.
Kita juga mohon izin lift dulu Ustadz. Terima kasih banyak. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.